Good morning. I'm Ben Locke, a senior, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to brag a little bit about my mother, Kristen Locke, just a bit today. Luckily, I believe that I've been able to keep my speaking a secret until this morning, and this breakfast has always been one of my favorite events. I remember coming to the mother-son breakfast for the first time when I was in 7th grade. My mother was so impressed and moved by the last speech, but then she began to turn towards me and whisper jokingly, "I can't wait to hear what you'll write about me." I immediately told her that there was no chance I would stand up in front of everyone and speak about my mom. As you can see, things can change. So Mom, you're welcome. It's challenging to find a place to begin, to summarize a lifetime relationship with your mother. Because the mother-son bond is so complex and significant, I've just started to comprehend how much my mother has done for me. And I've still not realized and understood the many ways that she's been looking out for me throughout my life. But thinking back on my journey, my mother's had an outstanding record. I assume the most appropriate place to start would be my 7th grade year at MBA. And I definitely had more of a rough start academically than socially. I quickly became disheartened and unmotivated because of my poor performance compared to my peers. During this time, my mother was my cheerleader, helping me improve and develop as a young student. Without my mother's expectations for me, it would have been virtually impossible for me to survive 7th grade and attend this school today. But this experience wasn't nearly as simplistic and collaborative as I just made it sound. Kristen Locke selflessly guided me through the advent of MBA, but I was often ungrateful and difficult in this process. I did not realize that it was much more exhausting for her to get me to improve in school than it was for me to slack off and never do my work. But thank you, Mom, for putting up with my antics. She could have let me continue on the STEMward path that I was making for myself and lose the opportunity of being at MBA. But she knew that this was the school that I wanted to attend, and she did everything in her power to make me realize that I was good enough to attend this school. Mom, I'm sorry I was so difficult to parent as a 13-year-old boy. Her struggle seemed to pay off, though. As I began to listen and put all my effort into school, I saw improvement. Yet I'd still not fully realized just how much extra love and support she was giving me. Just as I was coming around to my mother's teaching, we hit what one might call a bump in the road. My father unexpectedly passed away during the beginning of my 8th grade year. And this loss blindsided our family. Shocked and confused, I quickly felt alone and briefed of what I had known as our family. Uncertain how to pick up the pieces and understand this loss, I wasn't prepared to live life without a father. None of my family was. I wish I could give some advice on loss and how to process this complex and painful emotions following an event similar to this, but I'm afraid I would not be the person to ask. My mother would be. After his passing, she stood as a support for my younger sister and me, keeping us thankful for what we had, providing us with a perspective that looking forward and remembrance with gratitude is more important than living in the past. But I'd still not learned my lesson previously. I still would not listen and respect my mother as I should have. I became angry, frustrated at my mother because of our situation, because I did not want to think and feel about my emotions. I was fighting hard to forget my father. I was on another self-destructive path, dealing with this loss in an unhealthy way. But my mother helped me see the pettiness and selfishness of my point of view. She showed me only kindness, even while I was dismissive. She wanted me to move forward. She guided our family through the painful months and those years after his passing, always being caring, kind, and understanding, listening to and respecting us, while she had also had to come to terms with her loss on her own. My mother fought to keep my sister and me happy, putting her own life on hold as she tried to help us through ours. And I did not consider all that she was going through to do so, being so strong so I could be weak and vulnerable with her. Mom, I couldn't appreciate this love and sacrifice fully then. It took me a long time to see your perspective, to realize that you were having the same feelings that I was. I'd wish there was enough dirty tissues for me to help make up for all that you've done for me, but I'm not too sure that's possible. As we now tackle a new chapter in our lives, my leaving for school, I want you to know that I understand your strength and compassion and love more fully. I'm more prepared than any education or normal family life could have for school next year because of the ways you've steered our family and captained us through these difficult times. I love and cherish you, Mom.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you, Jackson. We will finish our program with the combined choirs, so if they'd please come over now, join me in welcoming them behind me.